You know, I know Tesla, I use this quote all the time, Tesla said the day we start studying non-material science, you know, humanity will make tremendous leaps forward. So what exactly is the difference between material and non-material science?
Right, and so it's basically a paradigm, and which is a belief system and a way of structuring science. So the idea is that physical reality is the only reality, so that includes matter as well as fields, and therefore anything, consciousness, spirit can't exist based on that framework, because spirit by definition is non-material. So any sort of phenomenon that we have that is a spiritual experience, you know, mediumship, any of these sorts of experiences that don't fit within this materialist construct are deemed as, you know, either placebo, wishful thinking, or basically they don't exist. And usually it comes down to the brain is doing something that's making you believe that that is real.
Right.
Yeah, so according to the materialist program, one of the main things that has been holding back progress, I think, is this idea that consciousness is produced by the brain. Yeah, and that's limited the study of consciousness, because it's like, well, consciousness doesn't really even exist outside of physical matter.
Sorry.
No,
well,
go ahead.
Yeah, like I've come across so many examples and so many scientists studying whether consciousness is a product of the brain or whether it's not. And you know, one interesting thing I came across were near-death experiences. You know, where patients are able to describe things on the operating table, for example, directly to the surgeon afterwards that they would have. Like, there's no way they would have known it.
Absolutely.
Do you have any other examples, like other than near-death experiences? You know, what's like the scientific background or backing, like scientific evidence for non-material science? How strong is it, like with regards to, you know, statistically significant results and things like that?
Yeah, so there are a lot of different experiments in different areas. So, and the degree to which they are able to be studied scientifically varies as well. So some phenomena are tricky. For instance, there are children who remember past lives, and that's a very strong line of evidence if it can be validated. So a child will be born and he's missing, this is a case, he's missing a few fingers. And he tells his parents, my fingers were cut off in this life, in this village, for, you know, whatever, for whatever reason. And then what the researcher can do, and the primary researcher that did this work was Ian Stevenson, and he's no longer alive, but he has students take on this work, is to validate those accounts by going to the villages, you know, finding the people that this child is saying that they used to be their family. So they'll say, you're not my mom lives in this town, and her name is this. And so these researchers can go and find these people and make validations, but it's very tricky to conduct an experiment like that.
Right.
You'd have to find someone who's about to be born, and I mean, there's a lot of complications with that.
There's also, there's also quantum physics. The observer effect, right? Where, you know, we're influencing matter, you know, at the quantum level, which is the smallest level, physical level. Yeah. So there's that as well.
And that's really important, because the scientific paradigm is a reductionist paradigm. So that's saying that everything that's happening on a larger scale can be understood by going into the smaller scale. So where we thought, you know, atoms were the physical aspect of reality, the smallest point. And so obviously everything is these balls just bouncing around and it's random. But once we started to look closer, then we saw, like, oh, the atom is not quite physical at all. And at that micro quantum level, reality is very, very weird and very kind of loose and unstable. And so if you're going to be reductionist, then you need to look at the quantum physics. And yeah.